we live in a society wherein assertiveness is not really appreciated. When you are assertive, they tend to think that this guy's got too much air on the head.
A no is a full word. It is not to be mistaken for a yes. It is not a maybe, it is not a could be, it is a no. N-O, and that's a no.
Can silence be assumed to be an it?
Consent can mean knocking on the door before you enter into someone's room. Consent can also mean asking for permission before you hug a person. Consent can also mean asking for permission before you grab food off someone's plate. Yes, and definitely consent means seeking permission before you engage in any kind of sexual behavior. Hello, and welcome to the XnY Podcast on intentions, connections, and intimacy. Join me, Suman Raju, your host, with my co-host Dr. Bindu and our psychologist Dr. Maya.
So rightly said. Consent can mean and look different for different people and gender. It can be withdrawn or changed over time. Consent doesn't just stop with sexual consent.
Yes, and today is an opportunity for us to see where we stand in our understanding on consent, to see where we are, and to see how we can be better at it.
Consent as a word apparently was coined way back in 1300.
Oh.
We are in 2025 and we are still having to teach people about this. The idea is there are 4 different kinds of consent. When we think consent, we think either legal or, consent to buy or, like things like that. But then there are interestingly 4 tiny parts of it. One is a clear consent where you're like aware, like you know what you're getting into, like you rightly said, it could be with hugging somebody, taking food, you know where you're going, right? So that is clear consent. Then the second one is coherent. That means a person should not be intoxicated, they should not be sleepy, they should not be groggy, they should not be tipsy, and the person should, you can't wake up somebody from middle of the night and ask, hey, do you want to go out? You shouldn't be doing that because they're asleep, right? So that's coherent. And then is something that we call is ongoing. Ongoing means something that is consistently happening. And as you're going through the process, you repeatedly ask them consent at various points of time. And then there's something called as voluntary. That means a person has to willingly, without any coercion, without any power dynamics, without any, pressure from outside, be willing to do what they love doing. And they're happy to do it with you. That's when consent is fun.
1300, that's a long time ago, Maya. Still people don't understand, as you mentioned, that what consent is and why should it even be asked. How difficult is it for people to ask for consent rather than just assume it?
I think after class 5, we forget to ask consent.
So maybe it's innately available somewhere down the line, you just leave it.
More than leave it, I think we forget that consent is respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Consent is mutual respect.
The societal conditioning has to be there.
No, this reminds me of what, we are never taught to say no.
Yeah.
You remember while in childhood, why don't you come sing to this uncle? Why don't you go kiss your aunt? Why don't you hug your mama? All of this with no permission. And we are put in these boxes where, are you a good child? Are you a bad child? So with all of these questions and parents pushing us, going out of a comfort zone to do something that we are not comfortable at. I don't want to hug him. I don't like to even look at him. Why should I go hug him? Yeah. So that is where it starts. And when, we grew up in that societal pressure where when parents tell you something, you go do it. No questions asked.
It's taken for granted.
Yes.
There's a lot of fear. Yeah. You're either hit, you're scolded, or you are told you're the bad child. And then there's a lot of comparison. So more than consent, what happens is complying. Children just learn to comply because that is said. And they do not ask, why do I have to do this? But then, to rightly what Dr. Bindu said, you cannot take a no, right? When your child says no, you take it onto your ego that my child told me a no.
Yeah. It's something about me rather than not about the issue.
It is not just that, Suman. When your uncle and aunt are in the room and then you're a 4-year-old or 5-year-old saying no, Your parents, I'm telling you, in front of relatives, you have done that, you have done this. How can you say no to your parents? And all these uncles come in. What culture are you teaching your child that she's saying no to you?
I also think it instills that fear of being, what do you call, not approved.
Because parents withhold affection
Yeah.
when you misbehave.
Yes.
So the child is scared that if I don't do what I'm supposed to do and comply, somebody else is going to either take away my autonomy, and they learn it is okay for your autonomy to be taken away. And when somebody in power, either age, gender, or by societal standards, wherever they stand, they have right over you. So you tend to take your friends, your friendships, and that's when, right, it's so simple that many people don't understand. You're supposed to ask a person, may I borrow something? Yes. May I wear your dress? May I share this with you? But if folks, you actually reflect on this, how many times in text do you actually say, can I call you? A lot of people don't ask for permission to call. They just call. We don't understand that even that is breaching somebody's boundary of consent. And people who put these healthy boundaries are called rude, are called bad, shrewd, and angry people.
Yeah, so this reminds me of one of my friend basically said something very interesting. So she said, Suman, now I think you're a call first person to me rather than a message first and call person. So that kind of gave that thought like, oh, wow, it's nice when somebody acknowledges it, right? And also while you were saying about kids being scolded, not giving the space to be themselves, I think we live in a society wherein assertiveness is not really appreciated. When you are assertive, they tend to think that this guy's got too much air on the head, I mean, I think we have to stop doing that as a society.
Yeah, that's because nobody has ever told you to accept the no with a grace.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling no, the parent or the adult in your life or the partner in your life is thinking this is aimed at you.
Yes.
But the no is for the activity that you have asked.
Yes.
Hey, do you want to go for a drive? No. Now the problem is we do not complete the sentence. Right? We say no and we stop. So the person on the other end feels rejected, dejected, abandoned, and unloved. So one good way to navigate this concept of no is say the no and give a rationale, not an explanation.
Yeah.
I do not want to come out because I'm tired. When you say no, the person, it is a trigger. I don't know if we all really think about it. We are very welcoming to the yes.
Yeah.
But the no is more culturally inappropriate. It comes onto a person's ego. And also a lot of times it is a sign of disrespect. Whereas we need to separate the two and look at it like the no is for the activity for which you have sought permission. But it is not an indication of them abandoning you or not taking you for granted.
I would also like to put this in a different format. I would say you should always ask and also be willing to take a no. Do you want to come to a ride? No, I don't want to come to ride today. Maybe tomorrow can we go? I want the ride to happen, but not today because I'm tired. Yeah. But tomorrow maybe if you ask me, I'm yes. So when I'm saying no, it is this situation, this act that I don't want to do. It doesn't mean that, okay, multiple times I have said no because of my work, my tiredness or other commitments I have. But still, I would want you to ask me when I'm free. On a weekend you ask me, I would love to join you, and I want you to take that yes in the same way as you take a no, and take this no and the same way that you take an yes.
Right.
I mean, like Maya mentions, when you detach the situation from where that no or yes is aiming to, I think it becomes a lot easy for us to accept a no also.
So I'll put a little bit of light here. So usually when individuals come to therapy and they're trying to explain, and in majority of the cases, right, when I ask them for the first time, like I would say, would you want to say what's on your mind? And they give me this look like, why are you asking me permission? And then I'm like, are you okay if I were to give you a perspective? They're like, why? So I'm not talking about 14-year-olds, 20-year-olds. I'm talking about 30-year-olds, 50-year-olds also, who are amused that somebody is going to ask you permission to even say something that they're thinking.
Yeah.
So as a society, we listen to react. We don't listen to respond.
Respond.
So when we listen to respond, you will honor somebody else's boundaries. So consent is, I will love you, but I will also love me, and we will love each other together.
Yeah.
Learn to verbalize, like Dr. Bindu is rightly saying, right? Convey the entire story. Do not, I mean, while we understand very, very openly, a no is a full word. It is not to be mistaken for a yes. It is not a maybe, it is not a could be, it is a no. N-O, and that's a no.
There is this beautiful verse that I remember right now, which says that boundaries are a safe distance where I can love you and me simultaneously.
It's like that two good, Venn diagrams just overlapping on each other. I will be a person, but I am willing to share my time, space, house, personal space with you with consent.
Yeah.
And now that doesn't mean that just because you're in a committed relationship, you're in a situationship, you are in whatever ship that you're floating. You still have to ask the person, are you comfortable doing this? Yes. Would you be willing to do this with me? Is this something, because a lot of them just barge into rooms. I'm like, get out of the room. Mm-hmm. You need to ask, because this is something we don't really process. Like, is this important? Like what you started off asking. Many people don't even think it is necessary. Important is a very
that necessity that I have to ask is thrown out of the dustbin. I don't know why, but it's always there. It was never picked back saying, okay, I'm going to their house. I would like people when they ask me, can I come to your inside the house with chappal on? Even that, sometimes few people do. In my parents' house, they do not like people walking with their slippers inside. For me, it doesn't matter. So that when such conversations happen, it is nice and you're more comfortable with that other person, be it a friend, be it an uncle, be it a family member. The comfort comes in that stage of asking itself.
Comfort and respect also.
Yes.
I mean, whenever you ask, it conveys a mutual respect for each other, and it kind of shows in the relationship ultimately.
When you say it shows in the relationship, I think that's where a lot of times when people are in a partnership, in a relationship, they think that understanding itself is consent in the long run. Yeah. And that's not necessarily it, because people are having different moods, they're having different zones, they're having work pressures, children, traffic, what not and what yes. So it's important to ask, hey, would you actually want to be intimate today? Are you feeling up to it? But then I feel up to it and I don't care if you are not. And that's when you've not only breached their individuality, you've breached their personal space and are making them uncomfortable about it. So it might sound a little funny, a little hilarious that, should I be asking my partner for this? Absolutely yes. You could be married for 30 years, you could be married for 90. Asking is primary because that is the essence of who we are, and that actually shows a lot of love.
Going to a psychologist is when I understood that consent is beyond physical, like you mentioned earlier. So for us, the understanding of consent is physical space, physical boundaries, and all of that, right? But like you mentioned, while in therapy, when I was asked this question that, would you like to share this emotion with me? That kind of triggered that, yeah, absolutely, consent has to be on an emotional level, it has to be on a physical level, it has to be on a social level, and even maybe at a spiritual level also. Something that my mind per se cannot grasp at this point of time, but I'm hoping with these podcasts I get to learn more.
You'll be surprised, a lot of relationships actually fall apart because of not having financial consent. You have joint accounts together as a couple, a pair, and you breach that line just because she's my girlfriend, she's my wife, they're my dad, they're my parent. A lot of discord and disappointment happens because of not having...
In marriages,
even with children and with parents and teens, why is it that difference is there? Because you don't really ask, like you're not even thinking, I want to buy an iPad. You just say that. But you never ask, would you have the resources to buy it?
Yeah.
So consent is not just in partnerships. Consent is also with yourself.
Yes.
Like how willing are you to do this in a lot of situations? A simple example. A lot of times when you're going to a occasion, a party, wherever, you dress appropriately. You literally, in the very bone of you know, I do not want to wear that dress. But then you need approval from the society and the place where you're going to. So you go against your intuition, you do not give yourself consent, and throughout the party you're pulling your dress, you're trying to move. Right? So that consent, like you breach your own comfort levels a lot of times and do not give yourself that level of comfort to be able to go on. It's very difficult for people to draw that line because it is very, very thin.
Yeah.
And it's a moral conflict a lot of times. Like, should I touch a baby? Like if you see children in the lift, I would always just put my hand close, but I will never touch because what if the mother is not going to be okay with that? Right? I mean, until the parent says, yeah, please go ahead and touch.
You should just keep your hand and wait for the baby to come in.
Yeah.
Just give a high
Just
five.
give a high five.
That is teaching a child consent. Yes. So it doesn't matter 3 years, 30 years, 35 years, 45 years.
Even beyond.
Anytime. Anytime.
Till you are alive.
Yeah.
The best people who actually do this are folks in the hospitality industry.
Yes.
They are the best examples of may I, can I, would you.
This reminds me, Suman, during my childhood, I used to hate one of my dad's friends. I don't want him to watch this one. But
Definitely don't name him also.
But somehow the way he used to talk about things to my dad, I didn't like him, I don't respect him. So eventually I stopped talking to him. Whenever he comes to my house, I was not seen anywhere. Either I was in my room or I used to get out of the friend. And then my dad slowly noticed and I'm like, I know you have anger towards him. Why don't you forgive? Because he is a very spiritual person where he says forgive things and all. For me, my debate is like, my stance actually, not a debate also. It's like, I forgave him. That's why I removed him out of my, my head. Because he is disturbing my peace. It is not something to do with any sexual abuse or anything. But I don't like the basic, they say that core
Belief
values
systems.
and belief system that he believed. And my dad is also against it, but he is an other spiritual person. He accepts people. On the other way, my acceptance is, you get out of my head, my home, I don't even want to look at you. I'm happy.
Yeah, which is completely okay too.
And then he cannot say, hey Bindu, why are you not talking to me? It's my wish. You didn't do anything harm, but I don't like your beliefs, so I don't want to even be there. So that is also a form of consent. And when the child is saying, I'm not comfortable with few peoples and their ideology, so I don't want to have a conversation with them. I think parents, let's accept that.
Like she mentioned, she had a struggle to communicate that. And you see the same thing playing in different scenarios, even in work, wherein your boss is much more superior to you. How do you deal with this power dynamics? How do you empower somebody to say no where it matters? Also, let's address the elephant in the room, the toxic masculinity.
Right. I think it's not easy to say a no to a lot
Absolutely.
of people because that power dynamics that you're mentioning is very, very strong and something that has been okayed by majority of the society and people. So to stand out means you'll have to be the black sheep. And when you're the black sheep, there are a lot of factors that will get impacted. Your appraisals, your bonuses, your working up the ladder. So a lot of compliance comes because of fear. Right? So one good way is to understand the root of where your fear towards authority comes from. And unraveling this in therapy is a good way because this doesn't happen out of the blue. You see, there are so many assertive children. For example, my friend's niece, when we are talking to her, I always ask her, do you want this? And she's like, I don't want this, I want that. I'm like, if you're going to wear that, all the mosquitoes are going to bite you. Do you still want this? And she's like, no, then I'll wear that. So what happened? You empowered somebody to make an informed decision. Yes. That is the way you go with anybody. So when you first understand, are you scared because of having authoritative teachers at school, having difficult, extended relatives, having an environment in which you grew up where your autonomy was taken away, when you get to the root of where your problem is actually coming from, that's when you learn more assertive, healthy boundary way of breaking through this patriarchal system of being scared to voice your opinion. And to be honest, language is beautiful. You need to teach people how to talk. I know it's funny that I'm saying this. A lot of people don't know how to talk. Right? And that's the reason why your internal language that you're having is coming from a place of fear and a place of self-criticism. Why don't people opinionate and tell? And a lot of people who are watching us today might reflect back on something that happened in their life and be like, I could have said a no there, but I
Yes.
didn't say the name.
Yes.
That can trigger you. You can come back to us and have a conversation. But remember, when a person doesn't know, they will not exercise their no. Right? And that's what we're intending to do by telling that consent goes beyond sexual activity. Language, good understanding of the root cause, and also a lot of people have anxiety issues when they are put in these stressful situations. They get panic attacks, they get anxious, they get worried, they have butterflies in the stomach, they feel like they're choking and suffocating. And some of them also become giddy and fall off, and somebody has to visit the restroom because they've never had to tell, I don't want this.
Yes.
Like your entire body is rejecting it. So working on grounding techniques where we allow them to ground their body on the root end of the problem to understand where it is coming from. And the other one is behavioral techniques. That means take a friend along with you. Have we not done this when we went to the restroom?
Yeah.
We said, hey, do you want to come? So take a friend along with you so that you have moral boosting for that. And most importantly, you do not have to directly say the no. There are wonderful ways of saying the no. For example, I understand that you want to do this, but I currently don't feel up to it.
Yes.
You didn't say a no there, but you've asserted what works for you. I could help you, but currently my calendar seems a little full. Can we do this another time? I would have loved to be a part of this, but I feel so drained out that I'll just be a party pooper and not add to the fun. So you don't have to directly say the no if that is something that triggers you and worries you. Find alternative ways, and this is what we call as reflective thinking of where your abilities are there, and make these statements. By the way, you can actually write, practice, and then go ahead and talk with people in power when you feel scared and worried.
Yes.
Do not think that this is not possible. We are never too old to learn a poem. We are never too old to learn a line, because this is you standing up for yourself and saying no. So when you say a no, you pick yourself. And when you pick yourself, you pick up your self-esteem. You heal that tiny broken part of you, and that's when you become confident all over again.
Yes. I think as a parent, I should learn to make my child understand that you have the choice when it comes to it.
Anything.
Yeah? Anything. Choice in anything.
And I would also love, as a parent, if you say, no, when I say you have to listen, that statement should go out of the window. And then you should maybe say, I would not like it if you do it, but the choice is yours at the end of the day. But also be ready to face the consequences. It's not just choosing and going around it.
Yes.
It is also being there to face the consequences that this yes gets to you.
And this is exactly why, before you have a child, first unburden your own burdens. Go to therapy. Fix yourselves, yeah. Not because of having the child, because this relationship is important. The child comes later in your life, but your relationship is important. You know, some people don't like sharing their bowls. Don't eat, no? Why will you? Because, you know, you can honor that person, you'll go do that, right? And that's when the person's, you're adding resentment to already past trauma, right? So fix yourselves, listen, and then, you know, when you deal with your own issues is when you're listening to the other person. And that's when a relationship thrives, with consent being love and fun.
We did something, Maya. Last week, we wanted to know what is the opinion of people and our followers about consent, and where did they say no, or where did they say yes, when it's an absolute no. We have a lot of amazing responses, and now there are a few questions that we have noted down. We want you to answer them.
When you write something to us, it's all anonymous. We do not take names. We do not take your age. We're not concerned about anything, just about the concern that you've written to us for. So please feel free to keep writing to us, and thank you for all the amazing responses, questions, queries, and everything that you thought and didn't like about us too.
And also, to add to this, we already took the permission of these respective people who have wrote to us if we can use it without using their name. So
Yes.
we have the consent taken.
That's good. Yeah, so the first question to you, Maya, is from a mother of 4. And she says, how soon should I teach my child about consent, how to ask for it, and how to say no where it matters?
Can we catch them as young as they're 3? When they learn to, when you move a child and you're weaning them off food, you know, giving them the option is what is more important. So anywhere at the age of 3, and let me also tell you, why do you want to pull the child from the mother?
Yeah.
The child is telling, I don't want to come,
Yes.
and they're crying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Leave the child with the mother or with the adult that they're comfortable. So that is itself starting, you know, respecting your child's boundaries.
Yes.
This one is from 23-year-old female who went out with someone she met on an online dating application. She writes that she really liked the boy she met and then things were progressing well. After dinner, he offered her to drop her home and even asked permission to kiss her. Wow. But after a while, things started getting too intense for her. Although she was uncomfortable with it, she couldn't seem to stop him. Finally, she managed to pull away, saying that they were in a car. She was okay with kissing but not okay to go further. How can I be more assertive, she asks.
I think while the entire scenario is a lot of things that happen in the current day's time, right? It's important to communicate even before you meet. That, hey, when we meet, if things escalate to wherever we are thinking it is, these are the limitations I have currently because we are still in the knowing phase.
Very early
Yeah,
in the
this makes
relationship.
it easier, right? The thing is, we are assuming the other person will understand our non-verbal communications, which is highly unlikely a lot of times. So verbalize whatever you're thinking even before you're put in a situation where you feel your autonomy or your consent is compromised. Makes it quite easy for you to have the conversation. And then what happens? Somebody in the mind already has it, oh, she doesn't want to go beyond the kiss. Yes. And then voluntarily also the other person has now been empowered with your information, so it stops.
I have another question from a 32-year-old male. Yes, consent matters for men too. So, being a teetotaler, the man says that while he was in a party with his colleagues, there was one female colleague who was kind of on the edge. I mean, she's had a little too much to drink and then she was throwing herself on him, which he was not liking it. Though he said that he was not interested, this lady wouldn't understand. And the next day she comes to the office and she says, take it light. I was buzzed last night. So he says, is it okay? Why is it okay?
It's not okay. Definitely not okay because consent has no gender, no age and no race, nothing. It is normal, neutral for everybody. So I think it is important to respect his boundaries. And sometimes I understand people are in these situations where because they're colleagues and you cannot say no. I would say ask for help. Ask for their friend or another female colleague to say that, hey, I think they're not in a great position. Would you want to support me? Right? That makes it easier, but just a sorry is definitely not okay.
Then don't take granted also. Because he's a male, he will not just be okay accepting just a sorry. Okay. This one says that while I was having a boys' night, one of my friends mentioned that girls like it when you force them. No. And are aggressive with them. When woman says no, they mean yes, and I was shocked. What do you think?
Everybody knows what they want. Learn to listen. Do not assume. Do not bring in your past experiences. And a no is a no. Where did these inner connotations come between it? So definitely not there. Definitely not okay.
I would want Maya to answer the lightning questions.
Yes.
You remember what fun we had last time?
Yes, we did.
So I have a set of lightning questions again, Maya, for you. Let's dig in. Suman, you want to go first?
Yes. So what about sharing photos from a party wherein more than one person is there and just putting out on the social media without asking anything?
Ask a blanket consent. Are you all okay with putting this up? Makes it easier for everybody.
There may be somebody who didn't inform in their house or their partner that they're with you.
How many people have blocked their own relatives and parents on Instagram and whatnot? So please ask people, and if you think it's a yes, and if it's a no, just take them off. That's fine. You can always do that.
And then this is the second one. You are engaging in a sexual activity with your consenting partner. Does one need to keep asking for consent for everything that they do?
I think it's about taking the consent way before so that the act doesn't get very distorted. So ask before and then indulge later.
Lightning questions coming in a lightning mode. After a date which really went well, reaching out to kiss your partner, is that okay? Or this is basically, he says that this is an assumption that we had a good date and I'm reaching out to the partner to kiss. Do I ask for permission before I do it?
Yes. That's pretty much the answer. Yes.
Yes. No assumptions, just ask.
Absolutely not.
Mine is very simple question, but I want your answer right there. Can consent be fun?
Oh, it can be extremely fun, especially because that's when you push each other's boundaries, but with respect.
A question from me. When the woman is drunk and incoherent and she's agreeing to it, is it still okay?
No, this is the coherent consent that we were talking about. Intoxication, sleep, any kind of substance in the body, and that kind of consent is a no.
Can silence be assumed to be an yes?
No, silence should not be assumed for a yes. Please ask.
What are the non-verbal cues that indicate one does not have consent?
Shrugging your hand away, moving away, while trying to kiss, leaning away from the person, your body shrinking away, you trying to look at your phone, looking at your watch, trying to pretend you got a call, a lot of them.
What does consent not sound like?
I'm not sure. I do not know if I want to do this. Can we try this sometime later? This seems a little confusing. I'm not there yet.
And yes, Maya, one last question. What does consent sound like?
I want to. I wish to. I love this. This sounds nice. I'm intending to. I want to, and I love you.
So we had a lot of questions today, and if we think we missed any, please write to us, because essentially what we're doing today is to set the ball rolling. The dialogue is open on our Instagram handle. Please follow us on XnY Health, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe on YouTube. Wow, I sound like my son, when I say like, share and subscribe on the YouTube channel.
He sounds like fun. So considering that we've usually been giving you a lot of sneak peeks earlier, this time we decided not to do it because all you amazing people, you're writing into us, you're telling us what is it that you want us to speak about and talk to, right? So please keep that coming and we'll take a lot of cues from you and we will design what we want to do next based on your needs. So please come back and keep having these conversations.
Keep commenting, keep DMing us on the Insta. We are up for anything that you do. We would take the clue from you. Thank you. Bye.